Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. And today we are going to give you my recap and some thoughts on this weekend's big weekend of wrestling as we got Impact Wrestling Overdrive and AEW's Full Gear. So grab yourself a snack, maybe something to drink, and let's do this. So, first things first, we got Impact Wrestling Overdrive coming up to us from Louisville, Kentucky. And it was a pretty entertaining show. So let's get into it. So we had 2 matches on the pre-show. We had a 6-way match for, I believe it was a number 1 contender. No, it wasn't a number 1 contendership. The next match was. We have Rich Swann, Bhupinder Gujjar, Jason Hoek, who is not tough enough, gut check winner, Kenny King, Mike Bailey, and Yuya Umaira. Great little showcase match to showcase the X Division / maybe a little higher up with Gujjar. Everyone worked really, really well together. Finish came when it was Bailey who had the pin. King chucked him out of the ring. Instead of going for the pin himself, he went to go still beat on Mike Bailey. So I guess Mike Bailey and Kenny King are going to feud for a while, in which I'm definitely okay with that. Then Rich Swann hit his, I guess it's a lethal injection. I don't know what Rich Swann calls it. Swan song, I guess. For the win. So, yeah, Rich Swann. Getting built back up a little bit. And I'm perfectly fine with that. He's a really talented young man. And, yeah, everyone worked really well together. I'm going to give this match a thumbs up. Next match, we got a number 1 contenders tag team match playa. So we have the Motor City Machine Guns taking on Bullet Club. I was kind of hoping Bullet Club would win this because Ace Austin and Chris Bay do need a little bit more elevation because they are both really good. But I am not so mad that Sabin and Shelley won. It was actually a really good match. Very high pace, very well coordinated. I'm going to give it a thumbs up, too. We got our first match on the main card, and it is a tables match. As we have Bully Ray taking on Moose. Moose almost immediately spears Bully Ray into a table. I guess he kind of dives out of the way a little bit. I don't really remember what happened. This was kind of a dull match, actually. Like, not saying bad. It was very well thought out. But there was really not enough coordination between these two guys to make me think, yeah, this was a necessary pay-per-view match. Overall, you give it a match right here. Oh, and Bully Ray gets the win. And this is not the last time we will be seeing Mr. Bully Ray. Overall, kind of average match. Not really anything to write home about. Next match, we have the Knockouts Tag Team title match. As it's the Death Dolls, Jessica Havoc and Taya Valkyrie, taking on Savannah Evans and Tasha Steele. Tasha Steele definitely works well with both Taya and Jessica. Savannah Evans definitely needs a little bit of work. I do see improvements with her in the ring, but overall she's still a work in progress, which is fine. I don't mind that. Yeah, match finish comes with I believe it was an 8-inch shoulder block or whatever it was, for the win. For the Death Dolls. I'm going to give this another thumbs in the middle. While not a great match, the storyline was there of Jessica Havoc kind of needing a minute away from the Death Dolls and refining herself again. And that also leads to who else is going to challenge for the tag titles. I'm kind of hoping for some new faces around, but we'll see. Next up, The Last Rodeo, as it's Mickie James putting her career on the line against Taylor Wilde in a first-time ever matchup. I am definitely surprised neither of these two faced each other during Mickey's time in TNA, especially early on. But yeah, this was a great little match. Definitely picked the show back up a little bit with its stakes. Both of them worked really, really well together, even though Taylor hasn't really been in the ring much lately. But this was a nice, fun, uplifting match, in which, of course, Mickie James got the win. I'm going to give this match a big thumbs up. Next match, Tag Team Championships are on the line as Rhino and Heath defend against the major players, Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. This match was a little slow to get started, but eventually it did get there. All four guys worked really, really well together. Teasing the spear, the gore, from Rhino. Cardona pulls Myers out of the way. And then, Heath hit his finisher on Myers for the win. So, I'm going to give this match another thumbs up. It wasn't super long, but it was very entertaining, and I'm interested to see where this goes. Next up is the tournament finals to crown a new X Division champion, as Trey Miguel takes on Black Taurus. Now, for those who don't know, Kazarian won the X Division title at Bound for Glory from Mike Bailey. That post-Impact, he actually enacted Option C, which he turns in the X Division title for a world title shot. There have been a bunch of other talents who have done this, including Austin Aries. I believe AJ Styles did it once, Chris Sabin, Josh Alexander when he won 2 years ago, I believe it was, at Bound for Glory, and then got screwed over by Moose. The title was held up, and this is the tournament final to crown a new champion. I really liked the power versus speed dynamic we had in this match. Black Taurus definitely pulled out some speed, but he was definitely more of the monster power guy. Finish actually ends with Trey Miguel taking the spray can he usually uses as a prop for his entrance, sprays Black Taurus in the face, hits his finish. 1, 2, 3. Winner, new X Division champion, Trey Miguel. It does seem like Trey is going heel now, which I don't mind that. X Division doesn't really have that many heels right now, so I think Trey would be a good, at least an interesting heel. So I'm going to give this match a big thumbs up. Next match, we got last knockout standing, which means basically, if you're down, you have to answer a 10 count. If you can't, you lose. And it's for the Knockouts title, as Jordynne Grace takes on Masha Slamovich. And although I will say this wasn't as good as their Bound for Glory match, this was still a really fun match. A lot of plunder being used, kendo sticks, trash cans, chairs. I believe thumbtacks were used. No thumbtacks, actually. And I'm going to say this. Jordynne Grace is the most underappreciated wrestler, I think, on any roster. Like, she deserves so much more praise than what she gets. Jordan and Grace ends it with her finish. 1, 2, 3. Winner, still Knockouts champion, Jordani Grace. And finalamo for Friday, for Overdrive, our main event for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship is Josh Alexander takes on Frankie Kazarian. Like I said, Kaz cashed in his X Division title for this world title shot. And boy, oh boy, was this a fun match. Like, I don't know if I can describe it. These two worked extremely well together. Including at one point, Kaz taking the world title, looked like he was going to hit Josh with it, decided against it. That's, oof, I love the character building here. At multiple points, Kaz had the chicken wing on Josh Alexander, who then countered into an ankle lock. Eventually, he does hit the C4 spike for the pin and the win. And then, of course, you have the holding up of the arms, blah, blah, blah. Out comes Bully Ray. And he announces, he's going to cash in at Hard to Kill, which is in March, I believe. Either it's March or February. Where he gets his world title shot. Now, there's been this story of, can Bully Ray be trusted? Can he be the babyface? And it does look like it's going this way, a respectable end to the pay-per-view. And then Bully Ray attacks Josh Alexander, beats him down ringside, gets his wife from the crowd, gets her in what looks like to be a bully bomb. Josh is like, no, don't do that. Then Bully tells him, get the world title, gives it to him, but pretty much says, this is your future, hits Josh with the title, lays the title on his prone body. And I know there's a lot of people saying, why is Bully Ray getting this title shot? I'm really digging this story. And I can't wait to see it finalized on Hard to Kill. It's going to be an awesome show, and I can't wait. Alright, that's Overdrive done. Next up, we have Full Gear, which, honestly, I think was my favorite show of the weekend. Alright. So, we have 3 pre-show matches this time. First up, we had a 10-man tag team match, which was craziness. We have Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, Rocky Romero taking on The Factory, QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, Lee Johnson, Nick Camarado, and Cole Carter. Action starts out kind of fast and furious, but then the numbers game goes for The Factory. Eventually out comes Danhausen in his kind of familiar evil gimmick, I guess. I guess that's him more hyped up and serious, which, I mean, it's a little ridiculous, but it's Danhausen. It just kind of makes sense. He then cleans house, hits his finisher on QT. 1, 2, 3. For a pre-show match, I'm going to say that was very enjoyable. Like, a lot of fun to be had, and gonna wait and see what happens with Danhausen. I'm gonna give this match a thumbs up. Next up, we got the semifinal match, last semifinal match of the AEW Eliminator Tournament. Now, the finals was meant to be on this show, but Ricky Starks suffered some sort of injury the week he and Lance Archer was supposed to have their match. So that match was called off. It was then on Rampage this past week, which is Friday. And then this match was here. And, oh boy, seeing Ricky Starks fight from behind as the lovable babyface, it's definitely interesting. I like this dynamic from the former Team Taz members. So it starts off, Brian Cage overpowering. Ricky starts coming back, hitting a sick pile driver right after the Rochambeau. 1, 2, 3. Winner moving on to the finals to face Ethan Page. Absolute Ricky Starks. I'm also giving this match a thumbs up. It was a lot of fun. I wish it was given a teeny tiny bit more time, but overall I enjoyed it. And our main event of the pre-show is a bit of a dream match for at least Eddie Kingston. As you have Eddie Kingston taking on Jun Akiyama. I do hope I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I'm not. This was just a hard-hitting affair. It was like seeing two Mack trucks slam into one another. And it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be, considering Akiyama's age. A lot of big hits, a lot of no-selling. Eddie Kingston then with the spinning back fist, with the pin, and the win. Overall, I'm going to give this match kind of a right here. It was less of a match and more of just a brawl, which I'm definitely okay with. Alright, first match of the main card. We have a steel cage match. As we have Jungle Boy Jack Perry taking on Luchasaurus. These two are obviously former tag partners, former tag team champions, until Christian got in the ear of Luchasaurus, and he's become Christian Cage's right hand of destruction, and Jungle Boy has kind of been the pain in the butt. I don't know what else to call him. Jungle Boy gets busted open like almost right away, which is interesting to see. I don't think I've ever seen Jungle Boy bleed that early before. Luchasaurus definitely early on with the power. Looks like he's going to just dominate. Jungle Boy with some surprise moves, including a just crazy peel off the top rope. Jungle Boy then goes up to the top of the cage, hits a massive elbow drop, which was picture perfect. Then gets him up for a pile driver, which I'm glad he kind of struggled with because Luchasaurus is a bit of a big guy. Pile driver right into the snare trap for the tap out. So your winner, Jungle Boy. I'm going to give this match a big thumbs up. It was just what this show needed to open. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. Next match. Oh boy. Might be my match of the weekend match up here. As Death Triangle, Pac, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Rey Fenix defend their Trios Championships against the original Trios Champions, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks. That's right. The Elite. The Elite have made their triumphant return after Brawl Out. I do believe I explained that earlier in last video, so I'm not going to explain it here again. Overall, this was another high-paced, high-stakes matchup that ended with Pac trying to convince Rey Fenix to use not so nice tactics, including the ring bell hammer. I believe that's what that is. Originally, Rey Fenix rejects it, goes back to the match. Near the end, he's up in the one-winged angel. Looked like Kenny's gonna hit it. Boom, boom, boom. Rey Fenix finally turns to the dark side, hits Kenny in the head. Then I believe Penta hit the Fear Factor with Rey Fenix's help. 1, 2, 3 winners, and still AEW Trios champions. Death Triangle. This match was really unexplainable. It included the story of Pac trying to lead Ray Phoenix more to the dark side, to cheating, which eventually he does. It was almost a perfect trios match. Like, I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up, and I'm going to say, give it a watch if you haven't, because I don't think I explained it all that well. Next up, we have Jade Cargill defending her TBS championship against Nyla Rose. A relatively short match, but I do get it. Jade Cargill is still kind of limited in the ring, and that's fine. I do believe this was a bit more of a house fight than I thought it was going to be, including Nyla Rose taking out one of the baddies, which I believe it was Kyra Hogan, who was trying to take the title back. And that's kind of been the story of this match. Nyla Rose physically taking the title, not winning it in a match, and crowning herself the TBS champion, including having matches on Dark for the title, which I think it's a good use of Dark, and it puts Nyla Rose in a pretty decent position. But then you had Jade Cargill with the big kick. Jaded 1, 2, 3. Winner, still TBS champion, Jade Cargill. I'm going to say this. This kind of let the tires out of my energy a little bit for this match. Was it fun? A bit more high-paced Jade Cargill match? Absolutely. Is Jade Cargill getting better and better in the ring as more time goes on? Absolutely. I just wish there was a tad bit longer. Not too much longer, but like 2 more minutes. That's all. That's all I'm asking for. Overall, I'd say more like here. It was an alright match. This next match, though, woo, very enjoyable, very good. You had the ROH World title on the line as Chris Jericho takes on Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. And honestly, the intermingling of these 2 stables, like at first both groups did work together. Eventually it did break down. You had Danielson attacking Claudio. You had Sammy Guevara almost rolling up Chris Jericho, only to get broken up. You had you had Sammy in the swing for the finish. And then Jericho hits a weird Judas effect to the chest of Claudio, but then in like a flying version. Like, he jumped at him like that. It was a bit awkward, but then Jericho with the Judas effect proper. 1, 2, 3. Winner, still ROH champion, Chris Jericho. And I'm interested on seeing who Jericho takes on next. Oh, yeah. We know who Jericho's going to take on next. Former... Was he television champion? I believe he was. Tomohiro Ishii, in which apparently, back in Japan, in Jericho's younger years, Ishii carried Jericho's bags, which, that's interesting. That's an interesting dynamic. I enjoy that. So that match is going to be great. I can't wait for that. Next match. A bit of a slower match, but I do understand why. You'll have Saraya, the former Paige, having her first match in 5 years against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And oh boy, this was, I'll admit, it was a little slower than the usual AEW match. But I'm kind of okay with that. Like, Saraya, she has neck issues, and you don't want to compound it. So they went a little slower, built it a little bit more. Oh, and to the butthole chanting, countering a "this is awesome" chant with "no, it's not." You. Like, for real. That was not necessary, dude. There were a lot of curb stomps by Dr. Britt Baker, which made me tense up a little bit because I thought, that's going to compound the injury. Ugh. A couple of times, Dr. Baker tried to get the, what the hell is that finisher name called? I forget. Her finisher on Saraya, she would counter into a pinfall. 1-2. Saraya with a couple of Rampage? Ram Saraya? I don't even know what to call it. It's like a sheer drop DDT almost. For the pin and the win. Overall, like I said, it was a bit slower, but I do understand why. So I'm gonna give it like more of a right here. It's not a perfect match, but it does feel more different from, like, say, the rest of the show. Next up, a triple threat match for the TNT Championship, as Wardlow defends against Powerhouse Willie Hobbs and Ring of Honor Television Champion Samoa Joe. And honestly, this was about as big of a hoss fight as I've ever seen, which included a whisper in the wind from Wardlow onto the pair, which, that was crazy. Congratulations, Wardlow, on that. That was awesome. You had Wardlow go for the Powerbomb Symphony on Hobbs. Looks like he was going for the pin. Joe backs him off. Kukina clutch. And that put out Wardlow. So your winner and new TNT champion, Samoa Joe. So we got another Samoan with 2 belts. See what I did there? Overall, this was a very fun, high-paced, really decent match for these 3 big men. And I'm interested to see where each go. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Next up is a tag team match player, which I didn't know was no DQ. I guess that was on... I don't know when that was stipulated, but you have Sting and Darby Allin taking on Jeff Jarrett. That's right, I said Jeff Jarrett. And Jay Lethal. This was as good a match as they could have had. Darby Allin flying around, including being caught by Satnam Singh, who had a pretty damn good chokeslam on Sting. Like, Satnam is getting really a lot better at this wrestling thing. So, hopefully, he gets more of a spotlight soon. Sting with a bit of an awkward Scorpion Death Drop on Jay Lethal out of the Lethal Injection. But that, I didn't think that hampered them. Oh, and to start, Jay Lethal and Sting go up into the crowd, and he jumps off a not the railing, but like an overhang, which is like, Sting, what are you doing? I don't want you to kill yourself. Stop doing this shit. Sting with then the Scorpion on Jeff Jarrett, which then turns into a coffin drop from Darby Allin. 1, 2, 3, Sting and Darby win. Overall, for the match, I'd say the least amount of heat. I'm going to give this a thumbs up, because I thought it was wildly entertaining, a lot of good spots, and some shine from Satnam, which, that's impressive. I really enjoyed this match. Oh, and during the match, we had a very rare TNA chant, which, honestly, for all you AEW fans putting down Impact, come watch. All I'm going to say, come watch Impact with us. It's really good still. Next match for the interim AEW Women's Championship, we have Toni Storm defending against Jamie Hayter, who has really come into her own and become kind of a fan favorite for everybody. These two worked really, really well together. A lot of decent spots, including, I believe, a one-arm power slam by Hayter. A lot of counters from Hayter's finisher into Tony Storm's. Eventually, Dr. Britt Baker does come out with the ref distracted for the stomp on Tony Storm onto the title. Hayter with the... I don't even know what to call it. Haterade, I guess I'm going to call it. For the pin and the win. Overall, this match was structured very well. Both had great chemistry with one another. It was a little bit overbooked with the run-ins, but it did make sense, and it didn't take away from Hayter as much as it did protect Tony Storm. So I'm going to give this a thumbs up. Easily one of the most fun matches of the evening. Speaking of the most fun matches of the evening, we have the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line. Yes, AEW has a lot of titles. As the Acclaimed defend against Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Now, the story of this match is less about the match itself, but more on Anthony Bowen's shoulder injury, in which, please heal up soon. Please. And the divide being brought on between Swerve and Keith Lee. Including in their entrance, Keith Lee looking to run past Swerve to the ring. Swerve stops him, and then they fist bump. So it did initially look like they were going to work together. Near the end of the match, we had Swerve and Keith Lee kind of face to face. Swerve then slaps Keith Lee, and Keith Lee bounces. So no more Swerve in Our Glory. Hopefully Lee and Swerve get a good story out of this. Caster and Bowens then hit their finisher, which looks like a magic killer to me. For the 1, 2, 3 winners, still tag team champions, the Acclaimed. Like I said, overall, the match itself was okay. I was more into the story though, which honestly felt really, really good. We had a good payoff, I felt like. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I really, really enjoyed this for the story, more for the story than the actual match, I'll say. And finally, our main event for the AEW Championship match, as Jon Moxley defends against MJF. And to say MJF got a really good reception, the roof almost blew off the Prudential Center. A lot of nice back and forth in the beginning, although by the middle, they did feel like they didn't really connect really well. Like, in and of itself, the chemistry wasn't really there, and it did show in their first meeting during the pandemic era. Overall, though, the match itself wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Match end comes with Moxley having MJF in the Bulldog choke. Down comes William Regal. He pretty much says, get off him, get off him. William Regal then slides his brass knuckles to MJF, picks him up, right to the head of Jon Moxley. 1, 2, 3, winner and new AEW World Champion, MJF, as it should be. Overall, this match was okay. Like, nothing truly offensive, but nothing really that really stands out. As, you know, MJF needed help from outside once again. Which I'm definitely okay with. Like, MJF is a swindler. He calls himself the devil himself. And, yeah, I'm going to say the devil got his due. And I'm going to give this match and story You know what? I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. And I'm going to say it's a must-see. Okay, that's it for me. I'm a little bit out of breath from talking for so long. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bit later this week, I'm going to say like maybe Friday. If I forget Saturday during the day, I'm going to give my predictions for this weekend's Survivor Series War Games, which should be a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. Hope you enjoyed. We shall see you next time. Peace.